Bloomberg. There's a stock that's rising today. Coca Cola higher after the beverage giant reported fourth quarter earnings and revenue that both exceeded expectations. Our next guest, however, has a hold on the stock. Let's find out why. Garrett Nelson is Senior VP and Equity Analyst at CFRA. Garrett, thanks a lot for speaking with us. Why the hold on Coca Cola?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Well, this is a name, they guided for earnings growth of only 2 to 3% this year in the release. It was actually slightly better than what was in the consensus. But, this is a kind of a lower growth type name, more of a value and income play. And it's in a sector in consumer staples that we're not really positive on right now. We have an underweight recommendation on the sector. And so, while we like Coca-Cola's balance sheet, the fact they generate gross margins in the neighborhood of 60%, and the fact that they're a dividend aristocrat, we just see other opportunities, better opportunities elsewhere in the market.
I've got the dividend yield at 3% currently. What would you describe as a dividend aristocrat?
Yeah, so it's a company, as S&P defines it, a company that's raised their dividend for over 50 years in a row, and Coca-Cola is well over that. So, but I think a good way to look at the total return potential is you take that 3% dividend yield, and then they're forecasting bottom line growth of 2 to 3% this year. So you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6% total return potential here. Just not the really high double-digit type total return potential that we see elsewhere across the market.
When the U.S. dollar strengthens, there are concerns in the market about what happens to the income statements of companies that sell a large portion of their products in non-U.S. markets. And as you've pointed out in some recent commentary, Coca-Cola squarely fits into that bucket. You've got Coca-Cola selling nearly getting nearly two-thirds of its revenue abroad, outside of the United States. How much of a headwind is the stronger U.S. dollar?
Yeah, so they're anticipating it'll be a 6 to 7% headwind on the bottom line this year. That's up from about a 3% headwind what we saw in the fourth quarter. So, that currency headwind should accelerate. They almost 2/3 of their total revenue comes from outside of the U.S., and we've seen a significant strengthening of the U.S. dollar. In fact, the U.S. dollar index was up 9% in the fourth quarter, which is a very significant move for that index. So, but despite that, Coca-Cola is still anticipating, some low single-digit EPS growth this year. I think you have to give them credit for the price and mix improvement that they continue to post. Their price and mix improvement was up 9% in the fourth quarter. At a time, there's been a lot of concern, how much more can they continue to raise prices? The price increases have been very aggressive from Coca-Cola and other soft drink companies over the last few years, but they're still managing to do it. And, as a result, you had their EPS was up about 12% in the fourth quarter year over year.
One part of the Coca-Cola portfolio you like is Fairlife. Those are actually milk products. You think it's an underappreciated growth driver?
It is. And if you look at Coca-Cola's revenue increases by region, North America was the strongest. And we think Fairlife really played a key role in that. Up 16% year over year. The revenues were up in North America, which is their largest region in terms of total revenue. So, and they're continuing to grow that product. We see the product everywhere at grocery stores all over the place now, and it's very popular. I can tell you that my kids love the product. And, they're building a new plant just outside of Rochester, New York, which is going to really help them expand the production capacity of Fairlife. And so we think that's going to be a really key driver of growth for Coca-Cola in the coming years.